The last thing Daniel Reyes remembered was the screaming. He remembered the sharp, metallic scent of alien blood in the air. He remembered the childlike alien clutching his jacket with shaking hands. And he remembered 8 blades stabbing into him, one after another, faster than he could keep count. Now he woke up, not dead. Instead, he lay on a bed softer than anything on Earth, with a faint lavender mist drifting around him. His vision swam and he tried to sit up, only to feel a firm, gentle hand press against his shoulder. Rest, human. A deep voice echoed. You are safe. For now. Daniel blinked until his eyes adjusted. Standing over him were 3 massive figures. Armored aliens with silver exoskeletons, razor-edged horns crowning their heads, and eyes glowing like molten gold. The Draconis Vanguard, elite warriors feared across 12 sectors. He'd seen them once before, on a digital recruitment poster. But in person, they looked like gods carved from metal and fury. And they're guarding me. He coughed once, his throat still raw. Where's the kid? The 3 warriors exchanged glances. The one closest, almost 7 feet tall, stepped forward. The youngling lives, she said. Her voice was low and resonant, like thunder through stone. Because of you. Daniel exhaled with relief. And then the memories rushed back in brutal detail. 2 days ago, Daniel had been nothing more than a burned-out security contractor on a cargo vessel called the Long Haul. He wasn't in the military anymore, not after his squad was wiped out on Jericho 9. He planned to finish this transport job and then drink his way through retirement. But fate had other plans. Docked at Station Helion 14, he wandered through the marketplace to kill time. He didn't expect to find a small alien child, barely 4 feet tall, being chased by a gang of cloaked criminals known as the Syndicate. The child, scales shimmering like stars, slammed into Daniel's chest and hid behind him. Please, she whimpered. They want me because of my blood. Daniel didn't know what she meant. He didn't care. He stepped between her and the Syndicate enforcers. They laughed. A human. One sneered. Move aside, meat. Daniel didn't. He had once stood between fire and his squad. He could damn well stand between these monsters and a kid. The fight was chaos. Daniel took down 2 with punches they wouldn't forget. But a third drew a cluster blade, fracturing into 8 razor-sharp shards, and hurled them at the child. Daniel didn't think. He threw himself in front of her. 8 blades pierced his chest. Lungs, abdomen, cold fire burying deep. The child screamed. The world faded. Darkness took him. No, he was breathing, alive, and guarded by the galaxy's most feared warriors. How am I not dead? He croaked. The female warrior tapped her gauntlet, projecting a hologram of his injuries. The outline of his body was filled with glowing patches. You were dead, she said bluntly. Technically. Our medical pods regenerated the damage. Humans are surprisingly resilient. Regenerated? Daniel stared astonished. Why would you waste that on me? The warrior knelt, meeting his eyes. Her slit pupils narrowed with something like respect. You saved Princess Kira, heir to the Draconis Dominion. Daniel blinked. Princess? Little footsteps pattered rapidly toward him. The young alien, Kira, rushed in, her sapphire scales gleaming, eyes bright with tears. You didn't let them take me, she whispered. He tried to smile. Couldn't let a kid get hurt. A rumble of approval rolled from the warriors. To shield royalty with nothing but flesh, one boomed. Humans are reckless. Stupid, another added. But brave, the leader finished. Daniel sank back into the pillow, letting that sink in. You said heir to the Dominion, he said. Like future ruler? Kira nodded eagerly. My bloodline carries the Stardragon gene. Very rare, they want to harvest me, turning my kind into weapons. Daniel clenched a fist. Figures. There's always someone who wants to use kids as tools. The leader bowed his head slightly. Your actions created a blood debt. Our Empress will see that it is honored. Within hours, Daniel was well enough to walk, courtesy of alien medical miracles that left faint golden scars across his torso. The warriors led him to a grand hall filled with violet banners and hovering flames. At the end sat Empress Valara, scaled like molten silver. Her gaze sharp enough to cut steel. Kira rushed into her arms, and the Empress held her tightly before turning her gaze to Daniel. You fought with no armor. No blades, no expectation of reward, she said. Why? Daniel shrugged lightly. I've seen too many innocents die. I wasn't about to add one more to the tally. A silent tension fell over the hall. Dozens of armored draconis stared at him, measuring him. Then, the Empress stood. Human Daniel Reyes, she declared, voice ringing through the throne room. You risked your existence for my daughter. By the law of honor, the Dominion is now bound to you. He blinked. Bound? It means whatever you ask, within reason, is yours. Daniel scratched his neck awkwardly. I don't want riches. I don't want power, just send those Syndicate bastards to hell. They'll come again. The Empress smiled, a terrifying sight. We planned to, but Kira stepped forward, looking up at Daniel with wide eyes. You should join the Vanguard, she said, so you can protect more than just me. Several warriors stiffened in surprise. Daniel felt his heart jump. I'm no hero, he said quietly. Not anymore. Kira shook her head fiercely. But you acted like one when it mattered. That night, Daniel lay in the royal guest chambers, staring at the alien stars through crystal windows. The Draconis homeworld was full of firelit skies and towering obsidian spires, like a myth given form. He thought of Jericho 9, the comrades he couldn't save, the guilt that never left. What would they say if they saw me now? He muttered. He didn't expect an answer, but he got one. We would say your instincts haven't changed. Daniel jolted upright. The female warrior who had guarded his bed earlier stood in the doorway, helmet under her arm. My name is Commander Syraxa, she said. I am tasked to repay our debt by training you. If you accept, Daniel stared. Train me? As one of you? She stepped closer, eyes locked onto his. You faced 8 blades without armor, Syraxa said. Imagine what you could do. With armor. Daniel looked at the scars across his chest. He should have died, but he didn't. Maybe that meant something. He extended his hand. Syraxa, right? Fine. Train me. She didn't shake it. Instead, she placed a fist to her chest, a sign of warrior respect. Tomorrow we begin at dawn, she said with a slight smirk. Try not to die again before then. Training with the Vanguard was nothing short of brutal. Gravity generators that tripled his weight. Combat drills with warriors who could tear steel open with their bare hands. Weapons that responded to thought and emotion. Alien tech requiring patience he barely had. Every day, Daniel collapsed onto his bunk with muscles screaming and bones aching. But he kept going, because every time he wavered, he pictured Kira's terrified eyes. And he remembered why he fought. Over weeks, his body adapted. His punches cracked stone. His reaction time sharpened like a blade. The Vanguard began to look at him not as a curiosity, but as a brother in arms, even Syraxa, stoic. Razor-tongued Syraxa started smiling during their sparring matches. You learn quickly for a soft-skinned creature, she admitted grudgingly. Daniel grinned back. Maybe you just punch slowly. She nearly punched him again for that. The Syndicate didn't wait long. One night, alarms screamed across the palace. Explosions shook the walls. Daniel grabbed his new armor and blade, rushing beside Syraxa toward the chaos. Kira? He asked, fear lacing his voice. She's secure, Syraxa answered. Your only task, protect the Empress, Daniel. Nodded, and charged into battle. Syndicate. Assassins poured through shattered windows, wielding the same cluster blades that had nearly killed him. Daniel met them head on. The first attacker lunged. Daniel ducked and slammed his gauntlet into the alien's jaw, sending teeth and venom flying. The second hurled blades. Daniel spun, deflecting them with his armor as sparks exploded around him. More came, dozens, and then a familiar voice cried out, You again? Damn human, stay dead. It was the same Syndicate killer who had thrown the blades into him back at the station. Rage ignited in Daniel's chest. He charged. Blades slashed, armor dented, blood spilled. But this time, he didn't fall. He caught the assassin's wrist, twisted, and drove his own blade through the villain's chest. The Syndicate fled, leaving smoking corpses behind. Daniel knelt, gasping but alive. The Empress approached, eyes filled with fierce pride. You have made your choice through action, she said. You are Vanguard now. Kira burst from her guards and hugged Daniel tightly. I knew you'd come back, she whispered. Daniel chuckled softly, ruffling her head spines. 8 blades couldn't stop me, he said. I'm not going anywhere. Later, in the quiet of the palace garden, Syraxa joined him beneath the twin moons. You fought like a draconess today, she said. Not bad for a human, huh? She met his gaze, serious now. Not bad for a warrior. Daniel looked at his hands, scarred but steady. Strong again. For the first time in years, the weight inside his heart felt lighter. Yeah, he said softly. Feels like I'm finally doing something right. As the stars burned brightly overhead, Daniel realized something. Jericho 9 didn't break him, it forged him, and now he had a purpose again. He would protect the Draconis. Dominion, he would protect Kira. He would protect anyone who couldn't protect themselves. Humanity wasn't feared in the galaxy yet, but that was about to change. Daniel Reyes, once. Daniel Reyes was no longer a refugee soldier, nor a forgotten cargo guard. He was Vanguard, but even warriors needed to sleep. He barely managed 2 hours before the palace alarms blared again. This time not for an attack, but a summons. Syraxa stormed into his chamber, armor on, eyes hard. Reyes, with me, now, Daniel groaned, grabbing his armor plating as he followed her into the gilded hallway. What now? He asked, Syraxa's jaw clenched. The Syndicate assassin you killed had a transmitter. A beacon. His death triggered a message. A message? Daniel echoed. To the War Foundry, she finished grimly. The Syndicate's Warforge world. They are not retreating. They are retaliating. Daniel's stomach tightened. For Kira. For the Dominion, Syraxa corrected. Kira is only a part of what they want. The gene of the Stardragon line can be replicated. If they capture even one of royal blood. Her silence finished the sentence. Galaxy-ending weapons. An army bred from stolen lineage. Where is Kira now? Daniel asked. With elite shields in the inner sanctum, Syraxa replied. But a shield can be pierced. A plan must be made. They reached the war chamber, a vast room with star maps illuminating the air like fireflies. Commanders and generals stood in a semicircle around Empress Valara. Kira sat beside her mother, clutching a crystalline datapad, visibly trying to look calm, but failing. Her eyes brightened the moment she saw Daniel. Daniel, she called. Come sit near me. A few commanders bristled. A human sitting with royalty? Insane. But Empress Valara raised a hand. Let him. Daniel stepped beside the young princess. She smiled up at him and the knot in his chest loosened. This kid. She's the reason I keep fighting. The Empress turned to the room. The War Foundry has issued their demand. Surrender Kira, or they will burn our world. A low growl rolled through every warrior present. Daniel crossed his arms. So let's hit them first. Take the fight to them. Make them regret ever stepping into our shadow. The room fell quiet. A human, suggesting strategy. Syraxa watched him carefully. He could feel every eye, every expectation weighing on his words. Empress Valara leaned forward slightly. Explain your logic, human Vanguard. Daniel stepped toward the star map. The War Foundry is like a dagger factory. They can't use their weapons if they're broken before they're finished. If we let them prepare, we're dead, Syraxa nodded slowly. A preemptive strike. Another commander snarled. You suggest storming a fortress planet with one fleet? Madness! Daniel jabbed a finger toward the glowing red world projection. No, I suggest a surgical extraction. He pointed at a smaller indicator near the planet. A transport network. We steal intel. We sabotage manufacturing. We destroy their leadership. Without a head, a snake can't strike. Empress Valara studied him, and for a moment, Daniel feared he had overstepped. Then her lips curled into the faintest, deadliest smile. Human strategy, strike the brain, and the body dies. She tapped her claw against the floor. It is decided. We attack. With precision, the room erupted into battle preparation. Warriors slammed fists to chests. Kira squeezed Daniel's hand. Will you really go there? Daniel knelt beside her. Someone has to make sure your future is still here to protect. She swallowed hard. Please come back. He nodded silently. A promise etched into his soul. Syraxa stepped to his side. You spoke boldly before the Empress, but now you must back it up. Daniel's grin returned. I'm used to impossible odds, she smirked. Then you'll enjoy what comes next. The long night before war, there was no rest that night, only preparation. Syraxa led him to the Vanguard armory, where weapons hummed with deep ancestral power. "This is for you," she said, holding out a blade unlike any Daniel had seen. The metal gleamed obsidian and violet, alive somehow. Pulsing faintly, the Soulcleaver, Syraxa explained. "It bonds with its wielder's spirit. It grows stronger with your will." Daniel grasped the hilt, and a surge of heat and cold rushed through him like the blade was evaluating him. Then, a gentle warmth, like approval. "It likes you," Syraxa said with raised brows. "That is rare," Daniel chuckled. "I'm charming," Syraxa rolled her eyes. "Don't push it." They moved next to the armor racks. Syraxa pressed a gauntlet against the wall, revealing a suit of armor darker and sharper than the standard Vanguard gear. "This was forged for a legend," she said. "But legends are born, not assigned." The armor folded around Daniel like liquid metal, lightweight yet unbreakable. "You look like one of us now," Syraxa said quietly. Daniel glanced in a mirror, and for the first time saw not a broken veteran, but a warrior reborn. Launched the assault fleet. Gathered above the Draconus capital, towering vessels shaped like winged dragons of steel. The air thrummed with energy. Syraxa stood beside Daniel aboard the strike ship Razorwind. "You will act as my second," she announced. Daniel blinked. "I thought I'd be grunt level." "You earned this," she said, not joking. "And the Empress believes in you." That meant more than medals ever did. The Razorwind thundered forward, engines flaring. Daniel gripped the railing as the stars blurred into streaks. War was coming. He welcomed it. War Foundry. Hell machine of the Syndicate, the War Foundry was a nightmare. Black metal towers spewing smoke into a blood-red sky. Factories stretched like veins across a dying world. Giant warforges hammered weapons day and night. Daniel felt his pulse quicken. "This place is pure evil," he muttered. Syraxa nodded. "It is built on stolen life." Dropships roared downward. The squad disembarked into a maze of industrial ruin. Almost immediately, they were ambushed. Syndicate Ravagers leapt from above, blades glinting. "Vanguard, engage!" Syraxa roared. Daniel charged into the fray. Soulcleaver sang with each swing, cutting through metal and bone like water. 3 enemies fell, then 5. Then more. Blades rained like hail. Daniel laughed, not out of madness but freedom. He had been waiting his whole life to unleash the fury he bottled inside. "You picked the wrong human to stab," he roared as he slammed one enemy into molten metal. Syraxa cut a path beside him, lightning fast. "Good kill." Daniel's heart hammered. His mind sharpened. He felt unstoppable. But then, the earth shook. A massive mechanical titan, 20 meters tall, stomped out of the smoke, its arms ending in chainsaws and plasma cannons. "Oh hell," Daniel muttered. Syraxa tapped her helmet. "Stay behind me. Your armor can't—" Daniel sprinted past her. "Reyes!" He leapt onto the machine's arm, Soulcleaver burning bright, and plunged the blade into the Titan's shoulder joint. Sparks exploded. The Titan screamed, a metal dragon in agony. Daniel carved downward, slicing through cables and hydraulics until the arm tore free. The Titan collapsed, crushing Syndicate troops under its weight. Daniel jumped down, panting, adrenaline roaring. Syraxa stared. "You defied orders," she growled. "Yeah," Daniel admitted. "But it worked." She bared her sharp teeth, a predator's grin. "Yes, it did." The inner vault, their mission led them deep into the Foundry's core. A vault sealed behind shimmering energy shields. Syraxa scanned the lock. "This contains the Syndicate's plans. Every experiment, every weapon design, even their leadership network." "You mean—" "Their brain," Daniel said. Syraxa nodded. "Destroy this, and their entire operation collapses." A grinding roar echoed down the corridor. Dozens of Syndicate reinforcements charged, armored, enhanced, mutated with stolen Stardragon DNA. The strongest weapons the Foundry had ever created. Daniel tightened his grip. "This is gonna hurt." Bolts of plasma screamed toward them. Daniel dove, deflecting shots. Syraxa unleashed a shockwave that sent enemies flying, but more swarmed, endless, relentless. Daniel fought like a man who had already died once and refused to do it again. Soulcleaver pulsed, hotter, brighter, feeding off his determination. The blade seemed to whisper, "Fight, protect, rise." He shouted to Syraxa, "Blow the vault." "I'll hold them." Her eyes widened. That is suicidal. I've done worse. She hesitated, then slammed a charge onto the vault. The timer beeped. Daniel turned back to the enemy and bared his teeth like a beast unleashed. You want royalty? He snarled. You'll go through me. The charge detonated, the vault collapsing inward. Flames and data shards bursting like fireworks. The Syndicate screamed, their entire machine mind destroyed. Daniel pushed forward, carving a path through shock and chaos, and then silence. Smoke filled the chamber. The last enemy fell. Daniel dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Syraxa rushed to him. Fool, brave fool! He managed a grin. That's me, she hauled him up. We must retreat. Our mission is complete. But before they could move, a new voice echoed from the smoke. You think this ends anything, human? A towering figure stepped into view, part living, part machine, an abomination stitched with stolen Stardragon flesh. The Forge Master. Daniel raised his blade, trembling from exhaustion. Round 2, then. The creature flashed forward, too fast. Claws scraped Daniel's armor, sparks flying. He countered, steel on bone. The world narrowed to survival. Claws tore his side. Pain erupted. Daniel roared and swung Soulcleaver, the blade singing with fire and righteous wrath. Slice. The Forge Master's head hit the ground. Daniel swayed, but stood. Syraxa caught him before he collapsed entirely. You are impossible, she whispered. Daniel smirked weakly. Good thing I'm human. Then she paused. Yes, she said softly. That is a very good thing. Victory. And consequence. The razor wind returned home under roaring cheers. The war foundry was crippled. The Syndicate, leaderless. Empress Valara declared a command feast, honoring the warriors. Daniel stood awkwardly beside and